You're listening to Seattle Real Estate Podcast.
Welcome back, my friends, to another episode, Seattle Real Estate Podcast. What are we talking about today? We are talking about a pretty major energy company in Portland said, get your rear end back to the office, all you employees, or you're going to take a little haircut on that salary. How much of a haircut? Like 10%. That's what we're talking about today. So we've been talking about this issue for a long time, since the beginning of the pandemic, where everybody was like, oh, we're going to work from home forever. This is the greatest thing ever. Well, this is a company that's saying, oh, no, we need you back. We need you back in the office. Don't really care about your personal lives. Don't really care about your childcare. That's just what we're doing. They threatened to do this once back in November, and they walked back on it, from what I understand. This is what we're going to talk about. If you're new here, my name is Sean Reynolds. I own a couple of real estate companies, and hopefully I read the news that you want to hear. That's what I'm doing, reading the news. Okay, let's go. PacifiCorp tells Portland employees to return to the office in less than 2 weeks or take a pay cut. Thank you for those of you who sent this to me. It's a good one because it's right on the narrative of, yeah, we're going to work from home forever. Not happening, right? And when we've been talking about this for a long time, over a year, power company PacifiCorp told employees at its Lloyd District headquarters Thursday, Lloyd District in Portland, Thursday afternoon, that they must return to the office full-time on June 1st. Now, this article came out on the 21st. So, okay, less than 2 weeks notice there. That's brutal. Must return to the office full-time on June 1st or take a 10% pay cut to continue working remotely. There's some incentive. Hey, love to keep you working here at the company. All that company camaraderie. But you're going to need to come back to the office. Otherwise, we're just going to have to pay you a little less. Several PacifiCorp employees told the Oregonian /OregonLive that they were caught off guard by the sudden announcement and felt frustrated and upset that they were being given less than 2 weeks to either make accommodations to return to work, or take a significant cut in pay. This is the first time I have heard, and let me know in the comments if you guys have known other situations. This is the first time I've heard of being told you're going to take a pay cut. I mean, just flat out, all right, here's the deal. You come back or pay cut. We whack your paycheck. An email sent to employees announcing the return to office plan did not directly reference a pay cut, but said employees who wish to continue working remotely must enroll in the company's voluntary work from home program, in which PacifiCorp confirmed that the program comes with a 10% reduction. Okay, that's how you do that. Okay, you want to keep working from home? We've got this program over here, and it pays a little less, pays about 10% less. Wonder how HR at this company came up with this. You know what I mean? It's like they sat around going, okay, we can't directly tell them that we're going to pay them less. How do we get around this? Well, we've got this other program for you people wanting to continue working from home. Here's the deal. Stephen Bird, president and CEO of Pacific Power, the subdivision of PacifiCorp, serving Oregon, California, and Washington, told employees in a Thursday afternoon email that the company decided to set a return to office date of June 1st after Multnomah County announced it expects to move into the state's lowest risk level for COVID-19 spread by May 28th. So that's pretty quick, though. Hey, you got to give people a little more notice than that. And I'm just one of those guys where, hey, you guys should just be doing this. You should have been expecting this, but you've always got some people who are going to need a little bit more time than that. Give them a month. I mean, you've been working remotely for how long? A year and a couple of months, something like that. Were we March 15th? So yeah, we've been working like 14 months remotely. I mean, however that goes, however this company, whatever their time frame was. Could you give them an extra couple of weeks in there? Maybe make it 1 month back to the office. I'm just trying to be reasonable. You know what I mean? But hey, we'd like to see you back in June 1st, but if you need some extra time, here's your extra 2 weeks. Positive vaccination rates coupled with lower infection rates give us confidence that office work can be done safely with appropriate provisions for social distancing and mask wearing. Thing about the office, I think if you're wearing a mask in the office and if you're not hanging out at the water cooler, we all kind of know the CDC has already said, hey, getting the Rona from contact surfaces, that is pretty minimal risk as well. I think it's pretty well known. I think people are pretty well aware that going to the office, you're probably not going to catch it. We've got a number of things now that we've mentally worked our way through. Never mind the fact that a lot of people have been vaccinated, right? And so you're reducing that risk. And now we're getting to that. All right, we need you back at the office. Going to need you to work on Saturday, that whole routine, right? Managers and human resources staff are working with our employees to provide guidance, workplace safety training, and individualized plans to return to work in person. So I followed the protocol for Washington State for professional offices is what real estate companies fall under. And the workplace safety training and guidance on said workplace safety training, the safety restrictions to open up your office were really onerous. And I've talked about this many times, that if you followed to the T what the state expects you to do, that's all you do is COVID stuff all day long. You need to clean the toilet after each use. You don't really know what part to clean, so you clean the whole thing each time it gets, you know what I mean? Door handles, you got to clean those. Somebody comes and goes. All right, technically you got to clean that. It's a lot of stuff. It's not very realistic is the bottom line. But I think now that we know that, okay, you've got like the whole contact thing, touching surfaces of desks, you're probably not going to get it unless you just really rub your hands all over and then lick your fingers and palms, maybe the back of your hands a little bit. I just don't see the whole COVID thing being transmitted that way. And I think a lot of people don't. And the CDC has basically said, hey, your risk of this is minimal. So we are at a point where I think people can comfortably go back to the office. Give them a little more time. Don't be a jerk about it. And if people are freaked out about coming back to the office, figure something out because it's not forever. I was reading somebody sent me a link to an article, and it was about taking the mask off. And it was this gal who'd been wearing a mask for a year, and it's just a cartoon. And I'll tell you what I remember from it. It was like a 6-panel cartoon. And she's like, oh no, nobody's going to know that I've been wearing this for a year. And that they're going to think that, I'm a supporter of whatever politically. And I don't want that. And so I don't want people to think badly of me. And so people just continue to wear the mask, right? I do the same thing. If I don't know what a store's policy is, I'm just going to put on the damn mask. And people just look at me like, yeah, you don't have to wear that here. Well, I didn't know. I don't want to read the 10 signs going into the entry, but you'll know a store when you go into it. If they are no longer doing the mask thing, they will have taken down that barrier and there won't be any signs on the door. That's kind of how I figured it out. And the guy behind the counter, he'll just be standing there with no mask on. And then you're like, gee, should I even be in here? We're also just trained to be thinking, this isn't safe. I should probably leave. I'm going to grab my Perrier at some other store where clearly they've got better safety protocol. And I'm that guy that's just been running around during the Rona and not, I'm not hunkered down at home, sitting there, living in fear. I'm just not. And, but even I am like, I should probably wear a mask. And we're just ingrained with that. So there's a lot of people who are like, going back to the office? Is it safe? I don't know. Going in the elevator? Yeah. I mean, you've got some scary stuff. You got to go in the elevator. You got communal restrooms. If you've been hunkered down at home and you're all of a sudden facing going back into the high rise in downtown, let's be honest. It's a little trippy. It's like, is this where I should be? I kind of just got over that fear by just going and doing this stuff. And, I haven't gotten it. And, I think a lot of other people won't get it from what we're talking about because so many people are vaccinated now. Right. And I think people within, work environments are probably going to be pretty careful, especially initially. And as more time goes on, more people get vaccinated, whether you believe that's right or wrong. it's kind of just where we're at. But yeah, we need you to come back and work in the office. Need you to work on Saturday. In the email to staff, Bird said the company won't require employees to wear masks at individual workstations once they return to the office, but will mandate masks in areas where employees can't maintain 6 feet of distance from others. Fair enough. All right. I don't want to wear a mask at all, but if it allows people to feel comfortable and safe in a work environment, whatever. Just make the call, have people do that, and that's what you're going to do. If I'm in an office by myself, am I going to wear a mask? No, I'm not, because that's ridiculous. But some people do. It's like people wearing a mask in their car. Like, what's the influence that you're hiding from there? I don't get that one. But if you want to wear a mask, I think half the time it is, and tell me what you think about this one. Half the time, I find myself wearing a mask. I found myself wearing a mask inside my own house. And then I'm like, oh man, I'm comfortable with this. And I'm just wearing it around because I don't think about it. I should have thought about it. Yeah, we just kind of got used to it, right? Yeah, wear your damn mask. Okay. Approximately 1,000 employees work at the company's Lloyd District headquarters, some of whom have already been working in the office voluntarily. Those are the people that have like 3 dogs, 2 young children, a spouse that they're not 100% on board with, and they want to get away, and getting away is going to the office. Guarantee you those are the people, right? Because nobody's like, oh man, I really just want to go see my coworkers. I mean, you might have a little bit of that, and I like seeing my coworkers, but if I got used to working from home, which I probably never will, but if I got used to working from home, you probably just work there. And do you voluntarily go into the office? I mean, there's some situations, maybe you got faster internet speed, you got a faster mainframe server, whatever it is. You need to be around people in a creative situation. Yeah, I get all that. So maybe you do go in, but most of the people I see going back to the office voluntarily, they're running from something at home. They're like, here's my chance. I can go back to work. I can come back into the office. Okay, I'm down. I'm there. Let's do this. Okay. Good Lord, here's the office. Oh, thank you, office. Starting Tuesday, January 1st, all employees should begin working in the office in accordance with our flexible work policies and office protocols, and the newly designed non-flexible work policies, because by flexible, we mean you taking a pay cut on your paycheck. Bird wrote to employees, this means that we will be able to reacquaint ourselves with colleagues and catch up on our shared experiences during an unprecedented time. I thought we were doing that with Zoom. I thought we were catching up and just being friendly with everybody all day, every day, 24/7. Were we not? But now we're told that we can reacquaint ourselves with colleagues and catch up on our shared experiences. It has been an unprecedented time. I'll give the author that, or this guy that. But the rest of this stuff, it's the narrative, right? It's the narrative. Gaunt said PacifiCorp was offering employees flexible work hours and alternative schedules to help ease their transition back to the office, as well as the option to enroll in the company's voluntary work from home program. The power company had previously informed employees who work at Lloyd Town Center that they would have to return to the office beginning November 9th or take a 10% pay cut to continue working from home, an announcement that drew the ire of the employees. But realistically, you probably could have, knowing what we know now, and the CDC has kind of changed they changed a lot of stuff on us, haven't they? They kind of have. And so you've got all these people now going, now we know that the CDC, they changed some stuff, but we're just not really that comfortable with it. So we're just going to keep wearing our masks. If that's your call, that's fine. But other people who have been vaccinated that don't want to wear their masks outside, I kind of say as a reasonable person, let them do their thing. If you're worried about them, walk far away from them. Don't walk close to other people, but let other people do their thing. That's kind of where I'm at. So there's that November announcement, and they probably got such kickback on that they're like, this doesn't seem like a reasonable thing to do. Man, we tried to get all the the team back to the office, but we drew the ire of employees. PacifiCorp backtracked on that decision after Governor Kate Brown announced a 2-week pause on social activities in 5 counties in November amid rising coronavirus cases and encouraged employees to continue working from home. So here in Washington, we had, I think it was called the 4th wave. I can't even keep track anymore. I don't know. Are you guys in states where you don't have to worry about all this ridiculously? You probably are. You're probably just watching this going, what a freak show in the Pacific Northwest. Yeah, it has been. It's just been nutty. This pandemic whole thing has just been nutty. But we had this 4th phase, this 4th wave of stuff go on. And during that time, we had cases kind of going the wrong way. And then our governor said, okay, we're going to put a hold on that. We're going to put a pause on that. We're not going to work you backwards as far as phases go. They did work some of the big counties like Pierce County in Washington just got hosed. They didn't meet the metrics, didn't meet the 2 systems of metrics, and they got put on phase. You know that drill. But now it seems like we're opening everything back up. Back to work, lemmings. However, PacifiCorp is now moving forward with its return to office plans. Who was it? Chase Morgan? Is that who it was? Is like, yeah, I don't really care what you guys think. You're coming back to the office. The Jamie Dimon, I think it was, is like, yeah, I understand that you're not in agreement with this, but it's going to be fine. You're going to like it. People are going to like it. It was like, okay, this guy just needs to have his people back at the office because this remote stuff, it isn't working for him, obviously. Just doesn't want to do it. And I think there's a lot of situations where the whole Zoom thing, it's a great tool to a limited extent, but it doesn't replace the day-to-day interaction that I think a lot of people need at the office. A manager at PacifiCorp who asked the OregonLive not to publish her name so that she could speak freely about company policy said the sudden announcement had to put some employees, especially those who are caring for children or family members, in a difficult situation. Understand that. You've got family stuff going on. You got a couple of kids at home. Your spouse works. They need to be working. You've kind of so far been splitting those responsibilities. Now all of a sudden, yeah, we need your rear end back at the office. This whole thing. And we're going to need you back within 2 weeks. It's hard to get people, to jump on kind of short notice. So I could see that being a thing. And that's why I'm like, hey, we've been doing this for 14 months. What is the rush? Are there results here that we're seeing that the work from home thing is not going on? It's not working well? Because if you have results, share those and say, this is why we need to do it. Otherwise, you're just kind of demanding people go back to the office. And it's not reasonable. I mean, I understand you want people back to the office, but just be reasonable about it and give them a little time. And maybe they'll get that. I don't know. You can't just get childcare on a whim. It takes time, she said. I'm hearing from people who are just going to take the pay cut because they don't know what else to do. That sucks. That does. So there's all this stuff that we're going to have to work through. How many times have I talked about the lifting the mortgage or the renter's eviction moratorium? I mean, you've got all this stuff that's been in the pipeline for over a year now. And now we're kind of sitting around going, all right, got a lot of people vaccinated. Yeah, we can't hold these eviction moratoriums on that much longer. The Fed has already committed to lifting theirs. The rest of them are going to be lifted as well. You've got judges here and there saying, yeah, that the CDC had no business doing that. We kind of overturned that. We overruled that. So you're going to deal with a lot of stuff with business going back to the office. How about that? We are talking about once you get to the office. I've spent a lot of time talking about getting from your home to the office, especially in Portland, because that's kind of a difficult trick. That is what you're going to hear about next is I don't feel safe going back to the office because my office is located in downtown Portland. It's not good. So either they're going to have to clean up the streets, which City of Portland has said they're going to take a more aggressive stance. We've talked about that. Here's what we're going to do. There's going to be a lot of conflict. There's just going to be conflict between the homeless advocates, homeless people on the streets. They've been ruling their roost for well over a year because the CDC has said, don't do sweeps. Causes the Rona to spread. And so these homeless encampments have just exploded, and they've exploded in downtown Portland as well. And Portland's got other issues going on here. On top, we're dealing with all kinds of issues, aren't we? So an internal document describing the company's voluntary work from home program says the 10% pay reduction is considered an equitable trade, often exchange for the elimination of commute time, additional flexibility, transportation cost savings, and even potential tax breaks. Okay, elimination of commute time. All right. Additional flexibility, transportation cost savings, and even potential tax breaks. Bottom line is they just want them back in the office, right? You can argue this stuff all day long. And yeah, is there some commute time savings? Yeah. But if you just said, hey, our productivity isn't what it needs to be, need you back in the office, I'd be more reasonable with that. I'd be like, okay, at least they're being straight with me. Or, hey, I just don't like the whole concept of our entire company working off of Zoom calls. How about that? I just don't like it. Don't like it. I need you back. And so the 10% pay reduction, let's be honest, this is just we'd really like to see you back in the office. However, the manager criticized the policy, pointing out that the employees incur costs working from home, like higher utility bills. She said she and others had also paid to set up home offices last year without reimbursement from PacifiCorp. That is one thing. So when we went fully, what I call virtual back in 2011 with both Reynolds and Kline Appraisal and Summit Properties Northwest, that was one thing that my office manager and I talked about. And she's been very happy working from home since 2011. So when we had this whole shutdown thing come, we didn't change protocol at all. We didn't need to. We were all set up to work remotely. And I still came into the office because we can socially isolate. I'm just sitting in a room by myself, right? I wasn't earlier in the pandemic, but we figured out how to stay 6 feet apart like adults. So that is one thing is utilities. It's like you're going to run the heat more when you're at home, but you just kind of figure out how to make that work. I think the offsetting factor is not having to commute, all that gas, oil, wear and tear in your car. So there's kind of offsetting factors here. But if you got to set up a home office, I think your employer should, and I bought office furniture and scanners and stuff so you can work remotely. It's not that hard to do. But I think what happened is the coronavirus hit and everybody was caught flat-footed and they're like, what do we do? Well, I want to work from home. All right, let's go out with all the other people and go to Staples and buy all of our work from home stuff. Oh, they're all sold out? All right, we're going to make do for 6 months until they get their stuff back into stock, right? So no reimbursement from PacifiCorp. She said that she doesn't understand why the company is so intent on forcing people back to the office when they've praised employees for their productivity working from home. Well, they want to keep people, encouraged to work. So they're going to tell them, you guys are doing a great job. We still think you're doing a great job, but we want you to do an even better job by coming to the office. And our way of encouraging you is you get paid less if you're not in the office. You really don't feel the appreciation with their response to this at all, she said. Not good. You're going to have this stuff. You're going to be seeing this stuff go on for a while because, this is just what's happening. You're going to have a lot of big companies. Big companies have already been saying, the big tech companies are saying, you guys can keep doing your thing, like a Zillow here in Seattle. Or Microsoft, bunch of divisions, Amazon, bunch of divisions, but even Amazon, they're planning on coming back probably in July, I think. I have to check my text messages. I've reached out to a few people at Amazon. I'll have to look at those. I think it's July, but they've been kicking that out, month after month. All right. Still got the Rona going. Let's extend that from August until November. So, but we're at that point where it's going to be hard to say, hey, based on this rising caseload of coronavirus, we're going to have to keep working at home for a while. Because instead, now we got more people vaccinated, whether you believe that or not, or you don't want to get vaccinated. They are vaccinated and our cases are going down. So there's no reason to keep people, from returning to the office. Give them a little transition period. That would be my thing is don't be the guy who creates the headline, PacifiCorp tells Portland employees to return to the office in less than 2 weeks or take a pay cut. That's kind of a brutal headline, isn't it? It's like, oh, hey, PacifiCorp. I've never heard of them before, but now my only association with PacifiCorp is going to be, oh, yeah, that was that company that they got the headline I did the podcast on. Oh, that's going to be moving forward probably the remainder of my life. Could be a fantastic company. I don't know. But that was the headline that I read. And that's how social media works, right? Now we're talking about it. And we've talked about a number of other companies as well that have done the same thing. Hey, we need you back in the office. Or, hey, based on the way that we do, our business runs, you guys can work from home forever. There's a lot of that going on too. But I think work from home forever, that gets translated to, we'll need you in the office at minimum of 2 days a week. If you want to figure something out for the rest, that's on you. But we'd like to see you back in the office 2 days a week because we're spending a crap ton on rent here in downtown, wherever it is that you are. So I think that's where we go. And I think June is probably that's on the early end for a big company of return to work. But here we are. You're going to see this. This is a narrative you're going to be seeing. So all of that, we're working from home forever. That's over. Game over. You can continue working from home. You're going to make less. And here's why. So this is the narrative you're going to see, and other companies are going to follow suit, and other companies they're going to have to make choices one way or the other. Do we respect our employees, or do we just drag them kicking and screaming back to the office? I don't know. We'll have to find out. I think probably a little of both, right? That's it for me on this one. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe. Hit that notification bell because we release content twice a day, Monday through Friday, once on Saturday and Sunday. Want you to get notified, right? You don't want to miss out on anything. And this is some crucial stuff we're talking about here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being part of Seattle Real Estate Podcast. I will catch up with you guys soon. Until then, stay safe. We'll talk soon. Bye. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification bell so you'll know when our next video is out.